Hi, well today's not a fishing video. It's about fishing, but it's not a fishing video. If you watched my last video, I was experimenting using my iPhone to film my session after my headcam had expired on the occasion before that. I think it's fair to say that it didn't really work that well with the iPhone. And I sort of came away from it thinking, right, what do I do next? I sort of contemplated using a freestanding camera or an iPhone to film me from a sort of short distance rather than having something attached to me. But I wasn't too keen on that because I've grown to like the arrangement where when you watch the video you get the view that I get, and that's what the headcam gave me. And at the same time, I was a bit reluctant to buy the same type of headcam again. There's really only one on the market and it gets pretty mixed reviews, and when I had it, it was a bit flaky. At times buttons didn't work as they should. But in the end it expired completely, and I'd had it just over 3 years, and I was just a bit reluctant to pay out the sort of money that is involved in buying a new one. So I sort of did some research, investigation, and I had a look at the GoPro cameras. Now, I hadn't been too keen on the idea of a GoPro because most of the videos I had watched that had been filmed on GoPro were more extreme sports, and all of the sort of video, the view you got was more like a sort of fisheye. It was distorted, wide angle, very wide angle, which I just don't think works for fishing. But I did some research, and then the recent or the newer models of GoPro, the sort of functions they offer are really quite amazing, and among them is the ability to choose between a wide selection of lenses or lens settings, from ultra wide angle down to sort of more normal, if you like, what they call linear, the linear view. So having read all this and sort of looked at a few videos, and as one does, I went for it. I went for the GoPro Hero 12 they call it, black. I don't know why the black on the end, but there we go. Anyway, I went for it, and it wasn't a great deal more expensive than than replacing the headcam that I had before, and it actually came with an accessory kit, which I'll show you in a bit. So what I've done is I've kept the hoop system, which, as I said, didn't work very well with the iPhone, but with the GoPro, it's a different thing altogether. I mean, say this camera is so small and so light, so you haven't got the problem that I had with the iPhone of it really being quite cumbersome. But the important thing is that it comes with an app you can download on your phone, and you can preview what the camera's seeing. So I can sort of set myself up exactly how I want to be with this camera, and I've actually done a little simulation in the garden, which I'll show you in a bit, and I think it works quite well. It isn't the same view as the headcam, which was up here and it gave you my eye view, but at the same time you get the view that I get, and this linear setting for the lens doesn't introduce any sort of fisheye distortion, and sort of the edges aren't all curved and all that sort of stuff. And the great thing is, one of the options is to lock the horizon. So what it basically does, it keeps the horizon horizontal. So when you're fishing and I'm sort of turning around and playing a fish and doing this and doing that, the view you get on the camera when you play it back, it actually keeps it all straight, which is, I think, quite amazing. That's sort of what I've done, or decided to do and done, and perhaps now I'll sort of go through the iPhone, sorry, not the iPhone, the GoPro camera in a bit more detail with you. I'll sort of change the view rather than me sitting here talking to you. We'll have a look at it close up. Right, so let's do that, shall we? Well, here we are. This is the GoPro Hero 12 Black, as they say. It comes in this is the accessory kit. On Amazon, I bought it from Amazon. They didn't seem to sell the camera separately for some reason, but they sold it with this small accessory kit. Obviously you get the camera, which came out of there. You get 2 batteries, which is great. You get some sort of fixings for attaching it to things, which I've used elsewhere, obviously. And in here was one of those head strap things that you put on your head, or over a helmet or whatever, you know, with the camera stuck on top of your head. I don't like that, and I'm not going to do that, so that's why I've gone for using the hoop. And also you get this, which is a sort of a selfie stick, which you can attach the camera to. The important thing about this is it floats, and it not only floats, it will float with the camera attached. So that's for people who obviously want to use the camera for diving or swimming or water sports. I don't think I'm going to put mine in water, but apparently it is waterproof to about 30 feet, which is fine. Now, because I'm using my iPhone to record this little example, I can't show you the app in conjunction with the camera, but the app is superb. But without the app, you've got sort of an on-off button, obviously. You get a front screen, which is quite small, but if you're doing selfies, obviously you need to have a front screen. On the back is basically all the controls. So it's telling me I've got 10 hours of video left on my SD card, which I put in. You don't get the SD card with it, by the way. 48% battery. I've been playing around with it a bit. That's why the battery has now gone down. Interestingly, you use the you can use the on-off switch. If you just press it once, it goes into photo mode. And it takes a rather unusual photo. It takes what they call an 8:7 aspect ratio, massive type photo, which, yeah, I don't know. You can obviously edit it down to suit yourself. Notice there that's got set standard linear. Once again, I've opted for not having, I'm not going to use it much for photos, I don't think, but I've opted to not have it on wide angle because of the distortion, the lens distortion you get on wide angle. So I've gone for what they call standard linear. And then you press it again, you go into time lapse now, or time warp. I haven't really played with this time warp, but it's the sort of effects you get. You can put it on time warp, and you can sort of walk around somewhere, and it condenses the time down. So it's like a quick walkthrough of something. And I haven't even played with it. I haven't changed the video settings because I don't think I'll be using that. And then there's the basic video. Now again, it can take 4K, and it apparently can do what they call 5K, really high resolution. But I've set it to HD. HD is what I upload to YouTube. Going 4K the file size has become immense. The storage becomes much more difficult. They're much bigger files. So I don't use 4K. I just use HD, which is 1080, and that's 30 frames per second, 16:9 aspect ratio. It would be nice to show you how it works in conjunction with the app, so I'll have to think about how I film that, but at the moment that's about all I can show you on here. Obviously, if you're not using the app to start, I just mentioned this bit of fluff on the top. That doesn't come with the that doesn't. Oops, I'll change it to photo now. Let's go back to video. That doesn't come with it. There's a little tiny pinhole microphone there. And I had some of these muffles that I'd bought, and I had one on my head cam because they do cut out the wind noise. So I've stuck one on here. Yeah, and hopefully that'll cut down any wind noise. What I would say also, when I'm wearing this on the hoop, it literally sits right beneath my chin, and so the mic is right next to my mouth, so that bodes well for audio recording. But when you want to record a video, you can do it through the app, or you can just press that, which starts recording a video. As we see, you can see the time going up, and you can stop it again. But the really great thing for fishing is this has got voice control, so I can now say GoPro record video. Oh, sorry, I got the instruction wrong. I'm still learning. GoPro start recording, and there we go. So when you're fishing, you can just start it and stop it. And GoPro stop recording. I think that's absolutely fantastic. And there is a feature in it which I've still got to play with, where somehow or other you can set it up so when you start recording, it actually includes 30 seconds prior to the point you told it to start recording. Now, I haven't even investigated this, and I'm not sure whether it works on this video mode and etc, but it has some possibilities for fishing, because obviously sometimes I don't keep the video on all the time, because basically it'd be impossible. You're out for 5 or 6 hours, you can't have 5 or 6 hours of video, so I tend to switch it on and off. But sometimes I get a bite and hook a fish and I haven't got the video on. So if I can sort this this system out, it'd be great, because I could say, I could tell it to start recording, and then it will give me 30 seconds before I told it to. So that would really be good. So that's about as much as I can show you, I think, with it in front of me on the iPhone. I'll have to try and sort of way to show you how the app works with it. It's got a waterproof compartment here. Oh, the other thing I ought to mention is the GoPro's standard fittings is these things, and they go into the end of there, and the little this sort of screw things go through and locks it, anchors it really well, so it's not going to go anywhere. But it's also got standard tripod thread in it, so if you wanted to put it on, I just think the whole package is really good. I don't know what I've done. I've touched something because I've got auto exposure. I'll explore that later. I don't know what that's all about. There's so many functions and options on this, it'll take me a little while to get my head around it. But there we go. Anyway, that's this bit of the video done, if you like. Okay, I've changed location to show the link between the app on the iPhone and the camera. I'm not in Paris, despite what it says there. Yeah, we bought that placemat. It's on the kitchen table. It's a placemat. We bought it back in 2016 when Paris was sort of celebrating being awarded the Olympics that have just taken place. But that's another story. Anyway, Face ID. I just got there we go. So I've now got the app open for the GoPro. It's called the GoPro Quick App, and it's quite brilliant, really. It's compared to the app that came with my little head cam. This is the bee's knees. So the important thing for me is the enable preview. Now this doesn't always work first time. It's a Wi-Fi connection, and Wi-Fi can Wi-Fi can be a bit of a problem. So let's put the camera a little bit closer. I think it had gone into power save the camera, so let's hope this works. Alright, let's see if it works this time. There we go. So yeah, a lot of rubbish on the table, so if we turn the camera around there, it's a better view. Anyway, but basically what that is showing is the view from the camera. Now, that's important for me because the problem I had when I was using the iPhone on that hoop around my neck was I couldn't see what I was filming. Now, the great thing with this is that I can now set it up so I can see when I get to start fishing. I can do an initial setup. I won't keep this on all the time, but I can do an initial setup to see what view I'm actually getting, which is great, really. So I've done a little simulation video in the garden, pretending I'm fishing, just to show you how that works, so you'll see that in a bit. You can change other things from here. You can change to the camera if you want to, but also you've got access to all the settings in the camera preferences, which are very wide. Yeah, it's really, I'm really impressed with this app. On this here, you're given all the different video settings, and the one thing about this that I was pleased about when I decided to buy it is you get these different settings for the lens. Super view, which is very wide angle. You've got wide, which is conventional wide angle. You've got linear, which is a view which doesn't distort. It doesn't bend the edges of the picture like the fisheye effect. And then the one I've selected is linear plus horizon lock, which is quite amazing, really, because it keeps the horizon locked. So if you sort of move your head to left and right, which often happens when you're fishing, it still keeps the thing stable, which I think is absolutely brilliant. Yeah, so I won't go on much more. There's tons of settings, as there always are in these devices, but that's the link between the iPhone app and they also do Android, I'm sure, and the camera. You can control it completely if you want to from here, but I'll just use it to set it up initially, so I make sure I get the view I want. Now, if this linear view proves to be a bit too restricted, I can always go to a wide view, but I try to avoid that if I can. Anyway, that's this little part of the explanation. I'm in the garden and I've sort of set up a simulation just to see what it would be like fishing. That overgrown area in front of me is my pond, which is very small and it hasn't got much water in it at the moment due to the very long periods of very dry weather we've had. But basically I'm not obviously trying to fish it, just have to imagine. So I've set up the GoPro so you can just see my knees. I've got the app open, which gives me a preview of what I'm seeing, which is useful for setting it up, which I will do on the riverbank. So if I sort of lean forward a bit and I've got a fish and I'm unhooking a fish, you'll see all that clearly. I've set up the video angle about 90 degrees, which is the same as the headcam I used to use, but on the GoPro they call it the linear setup, so you don't get any sort of fisheye type distortion. And the other thing about it is that you can set a locked horizon, so if I sort of turn my head to the side, the view still stays sort of horizontal, which is useful because sometimes I'm sort of turning my head sideways just to sort of catch a sight of the float or the rod tip or something. So that's pretty good. Anyway, so we're sort of set up in this simulation. So I've got the rod here just to make it look realistic. And if the rod's up here and I'm playing a fish, basically you still get a good view. You don't really get much view of the rod, obviously. You got more view of the rod with my head cam because it was set higher. But you can still see what's going on down in the water, which is important. And obviously if the rod's curved around because there's a fish on, then you probably will see it. If I need to use both hands on the rod, if I'm trying to control the fish, again you can still see what's going on in the water, even though I've got both hands up, whereas with the head cam I often used to block the view completely. So that all looks pretty good. Sometimes I need to stand up when playing the fish, so that will change the view, obviously. So I stand up, and again we still have a pretty good view of what's going on in the water. And if I'm sort of landing the fish, one hand down here, as I tilt forward, obviously that gives me the right view, so to speak. So I think this will work. I think it will work, and the image quality is very good. The grass is very wet, so I'm not going to get down and pretend I'm unhooking a fish, but I have tried that indoors, and that works as well, because basically as I lean over the fish, obviously the camera leans forward with me, so I get a pretty good view of the fish. So I think this may well work. It's not the headcam, and it's certainly not the iPhone, but I think it's going to work. So fingers crossed, next time we're down on the water side, we can give it a go and see how things turn out. And the other great thing about it is that you can start and stop the video with voice commands. So at the moment I can say, GoPro, stop recording. Well, that's it. Sort of a quick review of the GoPro. I decided to do a separate video for those who might be interested in the technicalities of the filming, rather than spend time when I'm fishing talking about it, because I try to keep the fishing videos reasonably short, and if I'm spending 5 or 10 minutes talking about filming, then you're not seeing fishing. So anyway, so as I say, it's just one for the people who are interested in the technicalities. When I did a similar review for the headcam, I did get people viewing it, I think, who were not necessarily fishermen or fisherwomen. Yeah, there's general interest in these things on the internet anyway. There are a lot of videos reviewing these GoPros already, but I didn't find any that actually specifically were talking about using it for fishing, so I thought it was worthwhile perhaps doing that. Anyway, that's it for now, and until I get out fishing again, as usual, it's thanks for watching and bye for now.